So this is the first video of our entire series of courses, and this video is designed to show you the very basic overview of what Blocworx is. So this is going to cover the structure, what an instance is, what a block is, and how blocks are put together using pages and modules. What we hope to get out of the full course is that we will build a module with some blocks, some basic application. But this video will just cover the initial structure. So the very top level of what Blockworks is for a customer's perspective is an instance. An instance is basically a system you'd log into, which will contain users, modules, admin section, pages, and what identifies what an instance is controlled by the domain name. So in this case, the instance is training-wms-ordering.blockworks.com. When we change the subdomain, it's a different instance. So a customer might have a few different instances, or a reseller might have loads of different instances that they're giving to different customers. But from a no-coder point of view, and from you building your software, generally it's one instance per customer. And if you are the customer, then you probably just have the one instance. It doesn't necessarily have to be blockworks.com. This is a case-per-case basis, depending on your requirements or other various reasons of why this might change. But again, a single domain would represent, a full domain would represent what an instance is. So the next thing we're going to do is go straight into describing what a block is. And the reason we go straight into what a block is because a block is where all the functionality happens and all your logic is. And everything else we want to describe after that requires at least a basic knowledge of what a block is supposed to be, because everything else is built around blocks. So what is a block? A block is a form. It's the place where the end user, not the no-code builder, but where the end user fills out their data. To call it a form is probably playing down the extent of how powerful and how much you can do with it. But at a very, very basic level, it is a form. So here in this example, we have a basic stock database, mypart2, location, quantity, and we just press enter in this case to submit. But when we dig deeper and we go into edit mode, we will see that a block contains what are called fields. And a field is our word for basically a piece of functionality that can happen inside a block. And here is all our fields at the moment, and we'll be doing other courses to cover all our different types of fields. But as you can see, our most basic input field is a text field, but things can get very, very advanced. A field can eventually be something that connects to an API. It can be something that works with data in other blocks. It can be algorithms, generation, stuff that generates data, time, calculators. So everything, all the functionality you need to build modules and to build your applications happens inside the block. And everything outside of that is designed to just structure and lay out your blocks. So as a very basic example, we're just going to say, let's do one more field. Quantity reserved. Press submit. It's just a basic text field, and we go back to the front end. And part one, location, quantity reserved for and we can see our data below there, and the old ones are NA because that field didn't exist yet when this data was submitted. Going back to the edit mode again, and we're just to quickly recap. So what we have is a block and we have fields. There is another level between, we'll say, a block and fields, which is what is used to lay out your fields, and that's called the rows and our grid elements. So if we add a row and then we add a grid element, let's say it's half size, we then put our fields inside that. Field 1. And this allows us to lay out a structure inside a block, and we can change the widths. So it gives us total control of how a block is laid out, and then it also allows us to dictate how it's going to come out on a tablet or a mobile phone. And that is a very, very basic overview of what a block is. It's a place that contains your fields, they're full of data. It's where you can get your data as well, and you can run your reports and see other information about the data for this block. Something very important to highlight, blocks can be connected to any other blocks in the system. And this is really when the system gets very powerful. The next thing we're going to look at is a module. So once we understand what a block is, after that things get pretty straightforward, because like I was saying, everything is within the context of what a block is. So a module is just a collection of blocks, and that's simply it. In this case, it's the inventory module, and we have stock database, location list, part master list, receiving to stock, stock takeaway. These are all blocks I created, and a module is the container for blocks. It's very easy to link modules with other modules, and that's more advanced stuff we'll get into in the future. But it's just a neat way of saying, okay, I'm going to build an inventory module and I'm going to put all my blocks here. But in theory, you could build different inventory blocks in different modules because they can all be connected together. So the next thing we will look at is what is a page. So we go back to the home. Well, the most basic example of a page is your home page. But a page is a place that is used to store modules, links, or more pages. So you use your pages to construct the layout of your instance. It's the handiest way of doing it. So for example, if I can create a page and I can put it in the sidebar, like here's a page called module packages, and this page contains modules. But a page can contain one of three things, which we'll look at now. So what we do is we'll go to the home page and we'll take a look at the structure of a page. So firstly, it has sections. Sections are just ways of laying out the different ways of laying out the page, basically. And the three things that can be created inside a page are either a subpage, which is just another page. So we'll say subpage. And a little square is used to represent the fact that it's a page. A module, and as I described, a module is used to hold blocks. We need to select a category. That doesn't have any representation. And finally, you can add a URL link. A URL link is simply my link. It's simply a URL. It can be a URL like inside that's part of your own system. Sometimes it's handy to link straight to other parts of the system without navigating through the modules and blocks, or it can be even an external one. Example.com. Let me create that one. And the link, you can see the link is represented by the arrow facing diagonal to the right. So again, we have our page, which is the square module, which doesn't have anything, and a link is an arrow. When we go back to the home page, which is a page itself, we can see that representation here. So when I go into this subpage, it behaves the exact same way any other page does. So if I edit here, section 1, we can do the exact same thing again. We can add our page, our module, and our link. So the pages, modules, and blocks cover the overall structure of how someone can build a system in Blocworx. You don't always need pages if you don't want. You can just add modules straight to the home page. That's entirely up to you. The advantage of a page is you can put it in the sidebar. We may look at future improvements where you can just put other things in the sidebar as well anyway. There are some other built-in system pages in Blocworx. And the system page is something that's not dynamic. It's something that you don't create as a builder, and it's always sitting as part of the structure of what Blocworx is. That includes the account. It includes manage data, which has more system pages for looking up and editing data and doing reports. And most importantly, it includes the admin section, which has other subsystem pages for like editing themes, setting up your mail alerts, setting up your roles and permissions, your profiles, users, app settings, and you can actually manage your modules and pages too inside the admin if you like as well. You don't have to do it from the, you don't have to do it while you're navigating. And these system pages you've no control over. They'll always appear, but you will see them if you are a no-code admin level. So in future training courses, we will talk about the roles and permissions and the levels. But overall, that fully covers the structure of Blocworx. And I hope this video was insightful. We'll talk in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.